Welcome to the Melody Treasury video guides for singers. This is the first video and introduces the use of the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA, for singers of French classical art song. It focuses on the vowel sounds of the French language. My name is Christopher Goldsack, and the Melody Treasury is a website I have set up to support English-speaking singers and others interested in melody. The IPA is designed to notate phonetics, so it is the ideal tool for singers who don't speak French, or any other language for that matter, to notate scores with correct pronunciation. So in this video I am looking in detail at all the French vowels. The biggest difference you will find between English and French is that diphthongs, or vowels that change such as gate or house in English, are forbidden in French unless written into the spelling. The pure French vowels can be really challenging for English singers. We start with the E vowel, as in the English word keen. You will see the IPA symbol here on top in square brackets, which is the convention when using IPA. By the way, there is a symbol like a colon which lengthens a spoken vowel. Because singers sing on vowels and inevitably stretch them to fill the time a composer has allocated for a note, this symbol becomes irrelevant for singers. The three words here are lis, utile and lire. You can see their IPA transcription on the bottom line. The word lis, meaning lily, is unusual in that the final consonant is enunciated. The word lire in spoken text would have a long E sound, so would use the colon. As I explained, I'm ignoring it here. Before moving on to the next slide, it is worth mentioning that I'm going to be using the singer's flipped R for the rest of this tutorial, rather than using the guttural R as in lire, which is correct in spoken French. Also, there are two silent or mute E's in this slide. Whether they are enunciated or not depends on the position of the word in a sentence, but more of that later in the tutorial. The next vowel in the vowel cycle is the closed E or E. It is not one English singers find easy, often distorting it to the diphthong A. It is not unlike a lengthened version of the English vowel I, as in is. Try it for yourselves. E. The French examples here are E, meaning and, which is always closed, as are the E acute accent in été. The ER endings and AI endings are also closed too, as in aller and j'ai. Moving on, we come to the open E, as in the English pet. It is common in French. The word itself is always open, as are words with an E grave accent, such as père. Words ending in AIS, such as mais, are also open, though you will find many French speakers who swear blind that they are closed. It is a very regionally sensitive issue, but in the refined circles of poetry, they are indeed open. On now to the bright A, as in hat. This is more common in French than the dark A, as in father. There is no rule to know which A to use, so following the phonetics is useful. That said, in classical singing, with its emphasis on a ringing tone, there is very little difference between the two. Parler uses the bright A, whilst pas and pat use the darker A. On now to the next vowel in the cycle, the open O. The symbol is nice and easy to remember, as it is indeed an open O, or a backward C. It is found in English in words like soft, and in many French words like voler and mort. The symbol for the closed O is a complete circle. It is found in English in many words not spelled with an O at all, such as the word all itself. In French, you find it in the word mot, meaning word, and also in endings EAU, such as beau. The OU sound is found in a lengthened form in English words such as fool. In French, it is commonly spelt OU, as in ou and roux. The U vowel is another hard one for English speakers to master. It is the same as the German U with an umlaut. Slightly confusingly, the IPA symbol looks like a Y. The mouth position is very close to the starting position of the word U in English. So try starting the word U, but sustaining the vowel, perhaps with slightly more pursed lips. Y, 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 and it becomes the U vowel. It is a critical vowel to master, as it is found very frequently in the word une and in many others like rue. Next, there is a neutral E which creates a number of questions. Many eminent scholars have equated it to the German schwa, which is found in English in words like a head. In spoken words like le and demain, the sounds are indeed very similar. But the schwa doesn't work well for sung French because by its very nature it cannot be lengthened, and French needs to be fluid, using long supple vowels. Some scholars suggest using the instead, but I favour the so words like le and demain use the same vowel sound as peu and de. In poetic French, the silent or mute E is enunciated. Indeed, in certain circles, such as legal French, one can still hear this in everyday usage. Mélodies are of course mostly settings of French poems, so the mute is enunciated unless it is elided, that is, it is followed by a word with a vowel and not then pronounced. Again, the sound is the best for this. The first line of Clair de Lune by the poet Verlaine, Votre âme est un paysage choisi, has 3 mute E's. In common speech, this would sound Votre âme est un paysage choisi. The first 2 are elided when singing, but the third is enunciated and becomes Votre âme est un paysage choisi. The sound is another that can be found in English, as in the word fur. In French, it is found in words like heure. We now move on to the semivowels. There are 3 used in French. Looking like a J, the first is a sound y, as in yes. It can come at the start of a vowel, as in pied, or at the end, making a kind of diphthong, as in grenouille or feuille. The next semivowel is the w sound, very familiar to English speakers where it is written with a W. In French, it is often not spelled, so moi, oui, and nous all use it. The third semivowel sound is the trickiest for English speakers. The U is like a very short U sound. It is found in words like lui and suite. To complicate matters further, this is another vowel that regionally gets changed to an U sound. So you get lui rather than lui and suite rather than suite. Finally, on this video, we arrive at the nasal vowel sounds. There are 4 nasal vowel sounds used in French, and almost always their nasality is overdone by English singers. They are still a beautiful fluid sound when sung, and a bright Italianate vowel is often nearly nasal enough. Before introducing the sounds themselves, it is worth looking at how to recognize nasal vowels. In general, a vowel followed by an M or an N will be nasal. In the words longtemps, the OM is pronounced on and the EM is pronounced en. It is important to realize that the letter combination is a single sound, so the M and the N are not sounded. In a word like famille, the M follows a vowel, but they do not form a nasal pair. This is because they fall in different syllables. This is not an issue for singers, however, as music will separate the syllables with hyphens. Longtemps has 2 nasal syllables, whereas famille has 2 open ones, or indeed 3 if the final mute E is enunciated famille. A word of caution with nasals. It can be very hard not to enunciate the M's and N's. This is made harder still by the fact that The M will often be followed by a B or a P, both labial consonants like the M, whilst the N will often be followed by a D or a T, both dental consonants like the N. In a word like ambulance, it can be very hard for English speakers not to be drawn into saying ambulance, or indeed ambulance, with the final N as well. But this is strictly wrong. So let's finish by looking at the nasal consonants in turn. The nasal open A, R, is always spelt EN or EM, as in va, ta, or simply un. The nasal open E, A, is always spelt AIM, AIN, or IN, as in fin, pain, or vin. The nasal open O, en, sound of the spoken language is probably better sung as a nasal closed O, on, to help differentiate it from the nasal A. It is always spelt OM or ON, as in nom with an M, meaning name, or non with an N, meaning no, and also in words such as long. The last nasal is the un sound, as in the word un itself, or parfum. Thank you for following this video tutorial. For further support, please visit the website at www.melodytreasury.com.